Hey class, it's another video by Stark Productions. I want to show you exactly what your template is for your lab, and probably more importantly, go over everything in its fine detail. So if you're looking on the board here, you're going to see that there's a control panel, also known as the intrusion detection system, and coming off of it there's half-inch conduit with EMT connectors that go to 4-inch squares and round boxes. This detail is extremely important so that everybody has room to work and they're able to fire up their devices and we're all not working up on top of each other's shit. You'll notice that each half-inch conduit is no longer or no shorter than 6 inches. Completely reamed. EMT connectors are nice and tight. Set screws are all facing front and center. The bottom box down here is a glass break detector, and it's in a round octagon box. The passive infrared sensor is in a 4-inch square with a single gang plastering. You'll see the detail on this. I'll show you that later in a later video. You also have a keypad and abbreviation KP. You have an alarm horn and a siren, also known as a notifying device. Up above, you classmates will be fabricating your own window contacts, which here you can see that we used a CJ and a little bit of tape to hold it closed, and you'll open it up to set your alarm. I want you to notice the attention to detail. This is drilled out pretty neatly with 632s, and this particular project shows your wiring in series. There's a black wire on one screw, and then there is a resistor, which is a 3,300 ohm resistor in series with the device, and then it goes home on the red wire. Close that up, put a little tape there. Here you'll notice a door contact, which are 2 magnets. You swing one open, pretend the door opened, it'll go into alarm. You'll do the same thing with some half-inch PVC, and you'll fabricate this on here just so that we can get something to work. And it also shows how you can kind of make something out of nothing. So we do that quite a bit in electrical. You'll notice the wiring for this device is actually here. Once again, your instructor will go over this with you. This is wired in series as well. There's a 3,300 ohm resistor. Kind of the important thing I wanted to go over is the attention to detail inside the panel. You'll notice I have some spare parts in here. Some spare resistors that will be kept in a nice plastic container. But you notice that we're wiring this with an effort to stay away from the battery. So most, or if not 90% of your wiring is all contained and rooted in the corner nicely. There's a little black button that there's a tie wrap that's attached to it to kind of hold your wiring in that corner, and then stripped and tied in kind of nice and neat. I had a past student do this for us that learned this in his first term, and once again your instructor will go over why it has to be tied in neatly, why resistors are in zones that aren't used. You'll notice that there's a few that are in there, and more important, what each zone does and what every device does. And if I wanted to stick a battery in here, I could stick it right there, and there's no wiring that's in the way that would pose a problem. So if you're looking at this, your wiring should be as neat as this. If this neat, I'll be happy. If neater, even happier. You'll also notice that the wires are labeled. So you'll see there, this says keypad, PIR, glass break. Up above here, if you dig these apart, it'll say AC power, way in the corner, horn. You can kind of see that in there. Attention to detail is everything. You do have a wiring diagram. It's clearly laid out on the front panel of this that tells you all of the terminals and keypad locations and device locations and what type resistors to use. This will be gone over in great detail in your classroom setting, but this will lay out here for the remainder of the term so that you can use this as a template to copy your project from so you can succeed. I will point out that if you break this device, or if you hammer it, or if you work like an animal, you will definitely be penalized, if not fail your lab project. I can't stand people that don't have common sense when they put parts together and don't read instructions. If you break this device, this is a very temperamental device. The cover only goes on one way. This cover only goes on one way. Once you figure it out, it's very easy to remember. There is no space in these terminals. So if I could open this up, your wiring has to be done absolutely perfectly. There's no room, so you have to use a little common sense and check with your instructor on how to tie that in most effectively. You'll notice that there's the smallest little dot on this cover. That dot has to line up with this tab just to the left of it, and if you lightly put it over it, you'll see that it'll just go on and then click in place. If you don't do it that way, you'll break the device, and that's how you're going to fail the course. It's pretty simple. Each one of these devices is about 40–50 bucks, and I'd like to be able to reuse them. And not only that, it just shows you that if you're in the field, you're only getting one device. So if you screw it up, you have to look like a fool and ask your boss for another one, and he'll say why, and you'll say because I suck, I broke it, I didn't know how, and he's not going to be happy with that. Here is a description of what's expected of you. I'll read it, just in case you can't read. Neatness and delicate care of devices is crucial to passing the course. If project is not done exactly like this template, then you will fail lab, no exceptions. If you break a device, you fail for the day. If you use a drill, you fail for the day. If you don't have a tiny screwdriver for all terminations, you fail for the day. If you complain about any of this, then you fail the entire course because I said so. Success in anything starts with doing as you're told and paying attention to instructions. If you cannot do this, then hang it up. There's no hope for you. Sounds pretty rough, and it's true. If you can't follow basic instructions, you pretty much suck at everything. I give you some notes up here of what window contacts and door contacts and resistors, and just some basic notes, PIR sensors and glass breaks. This is helpful stuff. So if you use it to your advantage, it's only going to help you. You'll notice that I labeled everything up here as to what things are. Really, this template is designed so that you can succeed. So if you listen, you will pass. If you don't, you will fail because I'm going to be on you like you don't want to know. Anyway, enough said. Have fun, and I will see you in the course.